This week in my quiet time, I was reading, and as I was reading, you came to mind. So I wanted to just share with you briefly what was on my heart. As I was reading through 2 Kings chapter 6, we hear about a war that's taken place, and Elisha is on one side, and the king of Aram is on the other side. It's a familiar story, but I've discovered that many times familiar stories bring those truths back to mind that we've thought about, and maybe in the midst of busyness, we've let them slip from our minds. But listen to what happened in 2 Kings chapter 6, beginning in verse 15. It says this: when the servant of the man of God, the servant of Elisha, got up early, he went out and he discovered an army with horses and chariots surrounding the city. And he asked Elisha, "Oh, my master, what are we to do?" And Elisha said, "Don't be afraid, for those who are with us outnumber those who are with them." And Elisha prayed, "Lord, please open his eyes and let him see." And the Lord opened the eyes of the servants, and he saw that the mountain was covered with horses and chariots of fire all around. I just remind you that as we walk through life, whether we're experiencing this time of a pandemic, and really in all of life, if we're not careful, we get such tunnel vision that we fail to see what God is doing around us. They were in the middle of a war, and the servant felt like they were defeated as he looked around. But when he looked closer, when his eyes were opened, what he discovered is that God was very much at work. And God was not only at work, God was at work in such an incredible way that no matter what the other forces were doing, the victory was assured in the work of God. And so as I've been thinking about you, I've been praying that God would open our eyes, that he would help us to see without any question that he is very much at work. And as we look at a world around us, pandemic or not, we sometimes get discouraged. We sometimes wonder what's taking place. And my prayer is that God would continue to open our eyes and show us how he is working. Because I'm convinced that when we see God at work, when we understand how God's working in the world in which we live, we find courage to live in light of the victory, and courage to be a part of God's work, and courage to face a new day, because we recognize that those who are with us far outnumber those who are against us. The reality is simply this: the one who is for us is greater than any who are against us. May God bless you.